Welcome to Snail Trail 4x4. We got TRD built up in the garage today, and we are going to be installing the hammer hangers from Archive Garage onto the second gen Toyota Tacoma. The benefit of installing the hammer hangers is that you get a smoother ride, you get 1 inch of lift, and you get more articulation. Alright, so measuring straight down off the ground, going straight across the hub, and straight up, we end up right around 42 inches to the fender, right around there, 42 inches. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check that measurement at the end and see if it lifts it up 1 inch. Alright, so just barely off the ground, and we're getting a droop of right around 48 inches to that fender. Pretty much measuring the same spot. So before we go too far, we realize we need to lower the tire down, or the spare tire down, which is located underneath the bed of the vehicle. To do so, you're going to go through this tiny hole that's right above your license plate. Grab the spare tire kit out of the back of your truck, usually behind the seat or underneath the seat of the Tacoma, and you're going to grab all 4 of the pieces out of there. You can lay the one with the tire end on to a side, and you're just going to snap these all together. Let's see, we're going to go like that, like so. The side with the hook slides in through the top. It's quite dark in there, so I'll grab my gear wrench little headlamp, and then you can see in there that it just kind of lines up. It doesn't really hook it into anything, it just sort of lines up into a slot. So then we're just going to take the tire iron side, slide that over this end, and then we can just turn it. Let's see, we want to go counterclockwise. And there it goes. You're just turning this crank, it's lowering the chain down. The tire will come down here in a second. Check your spares, make sure they're not flat in case you ever need them. So here I am underneath the vehicle. We've got it on stands, on the frame right there, and then the tires are off the ground. We're at full droop. One of the things I wanted to look at was how are the brake lines, which are right here, and they have some play, which is great, but since we are going to be changing the suspension up a little bit, I wanted to just take an eye on those and see where we're going to be at. Also, this truck has an extended brake line, or excuse me, extended breather, which is right here, and it's super tight. So we're gonna have to adjust that in the mix of all this stuff that we're doing. Next step is we're gonna put some simple jack stands underneath the axle to the ground, just as support. We're gonna start disconnecting the hangers that are right here. Alright, so first step here is we're going to remove this shackle bolt. These are 19 millimeters on both ends on the nut and the bolts. So we're going to take these off now. So we got the nut off both sides, but the bolts are just in place holding everything where it needs to be. The trick here is we're going to keep the frame and the axle in as close as the position as possible while we're going to be taking off these ginormous hangers. So I'm just going to loosen the bolt, take it completely out, and then lower the axle down sort of out of the way onto some jack stands that I already have in place. So this is a 19 millimeter, and we're just going to try and yank it out the best possible we can. I should also note that I had to lift the axle a little bit just to release some stress on this bolt. Just bending the shackle up and out of the way so when I lower this down it won't conflict or stick in there for any of the cutting or grinding we're going to be doing. So here's the hangers right in this area. There's a big rivet right here, and then one on the top, and then there's 2 more. There's one on the top and one on the back side. We have to grind those off and then punch them out, and then we do have to do some drilling as well. And then we're gonna bolt the new ones into place. But right now what we've got to do is grind all these away so we can take these old hangers off. Then we got to do that on the other side too. I started with a cutoff wheel, and as you can see, I just cut the heads off of these here and here. One was right up there, and then the hard one was back there in the corner on the underside. So now that I cut all the heads off, I'm going to use just a flapper disc and grind them down smooth to this plate so that I can try and hammer them out if possible with a punch, or worst case, I'm gonna have to drill them out. But thanks to Gear Wrench, we got some light back here. So thanks Gear Wrench for this cool magnetic light. So let's get back to grinding. So after doing a bunch of hitting on this guy with a punch, I did get that one to go up, but it did not come all the way out. And then none of the other ones moved at all. So now I'm gonna do a center punch and then drill these out with a 1/4" drill bit. So they provide you with both bits that you're gonna need. This is a 1/4" one that I used for a pilot bit, and then they give you this like stubby version one of a 1/2" drive, which is great because it's short enough to get me between the frame and the fender on the inside. So super stoked that my drill fits this. And now we're gonna drill out the rest of the way, 1/2" all the way through the frame. I got it off finally. It took a lot of drilling, a lot of time. I went the 1/4" bit, 1/2" bit, 1/4" bit, 1/2" bit until it went all the way through. And then at the very end, I had to hit it out, hit one of the rivets out, and then this part just fell out onto the ground. So this is done. I'm gonna do the other side now, and then we're gonna be bolting up the new ones. Now that we've dropped both the hangers, we had to drill out those rivets. That took a really long time. It took me like 2 hours, maybe longer. I've ground everything off of the frame, and I've removed any rust or any burrs that are in that location. So now I'm gonna paint the frame, and then we're gonna put the hangers up into place. So we're gonna place the hammer hangers with the open section facing towards the cab, and then just like they came off, we're gonna mount them on the bottom of the frame and the side of the frame going up. You're gonna be using the provided hardware with these, which are 19mm. Almost dropped it. These things are heavy. So now that we have the spring hangers loosely into place right here, I'm going to remove the rest of the shackle and position it into place into our new hammer hangers. Using the new provided hardware, we're just going to slide this shackle into place. It's kind of tight on this back side where you got to put the nut in, so just be careful. So adjusting the axle up gives me a little bit of freedom to align the shackle, so now we can just line that back up. I'm going to go with the bolt and then the washer. On the back side. So we applied a little bit of anti-seize to these bolts that are on the frame, and now we are torquing them down to 80 foot-pounds. All right, coming to the end now. We are tightening these guys down. These are the shackle bolts. They are 7/8 and they go to 89 foot-pounds. So here's a look at the brake lines after we've installed the hammer hangers. And there's still a little bit of play. This one's definitely tighter than this one. This one's got a lot of play left into it. It might be advisable for you to adjust these if you do go off-roading a lot and you have a passenger side going up and the driver side coming down. It might stretch this a little bit farther than it's at, but we are just at full droop here, tires off the ground, sitting on the frame with jack stands. So it is advisable. I would suggest people probably to change their brake lines just for their safety. So there you have it. Install is done. We got from 42 inches, it did raise it an inch to 43 inches, and we did get another additional inch of droop in there from 48 to 49 inches. We raised the vehicle up till the tire barely came off the ground, and it did have a bigger, longer expanse than the previous time. Big thanks to Archive Garage for this kit. We are super excited with it. It was a little hard to drill out those rivets, but once you got them out, everything went together great. Make sure to check out this awesome build on my channel. I'll put a link up to it above, TRD Buildup. Go follow her on Instagram. And thanks for watching. Hammer down on that subscribe button and keep crawling.